Hey, we're here with Robert this afternoon, having a hangout with our Robert.
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate that.
Absolute pleasure as always. Here with Mickey.
Hello. Hi guys.
Hey,
yeah.
Mickey.
Hi there, John.
Yeah. What song comes to your mind when you see a Mickey?
Mickey. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine.
Yeah,
You blew my mind. Hey, Mickey.
So that's the song. I don't. Is that the name of it? Is Mickey the name of the song?
Yeah, I think it's called Mickey.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why, yes.
Anyway, we've come together today to have this hangout, and what is Robert going to talk about?
So there's several different topics, and they're interconnected and related, having to do with what's real, what is true. To use the Matrix analogy that's so familiar with many of us, when Neo is in the construct and he says to Morpheus, "This isn't real." He said, "Well, what is real? If real is what you can see, taste, touch, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain." And so there's that challenge of looking at information, whether it's video or right in front of our eyes directly, like walking out on the beach and seeing the ocean. You would think that's pretty straightforward, yet quite often people don't recognize the horizon as horizontal, and they have the misconception that they're living on a spinning water ball hurling through space, which is
Oh, Robert, aren't we then? Oh, we're not then.
Yeah, and they don't want to be told that they got it wrong.
Yes, they damn well did, haven't they, Robert? They got it wrong.
Well, yeah, well, they think they've got it right, and I'm sure many of us are familiar with the Mark Twain quote that it's easier to fool people than convince them that they've been fooled or outright bamboozled.
And what is it?
Like
what is it? They're lying and you ain't buying.
Skullduggery.
That's right. That's right. How do you know if a politician's lying?
Oh, Robert, you're on the beach. Robert, you're on the beach. Yeah. You've been putting your stickers up.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling on them. Yeah. So a lot has happened since we talked last. Now, in relationship to going back to what's true and real, quite often people can have ingested things into their body through their nose, through medicines, medications, foods, or even just breathing. And because of the nature of where we are at January 27th of 2022, there's what the World Economic Forum has referred to as the Great Reset. And many of us are also familiar with the term the New World Order. And what does that involve? Well, one of the dynamics is it involves...
Means you're going to do as you're told. Means you're going to do as you're told. That's what it means. Carry on, Robert.
Well, that's part of it. And then the other thing is there's a whole group of people that want to be told what to do. Because unfortunately, many of them are bamboozled and they have a lot of fear. And what contributes to a lot of fear can be false evidence appearing real. Now, there are things that we should be afraid of. I mean, it wouldn't be good for me to go swimming out in the ocean if I saw a school of sharks ripping apart another fish there. I've actually seen that. That would be a good time to take a break from the surfing for a bit. Well,
oh, you're good at that as well, aren't you, Robert?
Yeah, I've been going out there more. I use the big surfboard. It's called a Willie, so I've got a big Willie, and I'll take it out there and
Robert!
I'll be using it as a rotisserie for my tanning.
Oh, do you know what? That's going to be really weird. We get to another hangout and people will forget that, and I'll be going, "How's your big Willie?"
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I've got it in the garage right now.
Super surfer.
as long as I keep it in the garage, I'm in good shape. Especially when it's this cold out, because, well, it's in the 30s right now, and the water is in the low 50s, and I could put on a wetsuit.
What does that mean? It's nearly freezing.
It is.
Wow, not you, Robert.
20s. Well, so we've got a weather pattern that's apparently going to create a big storm that's going to go up the East Coast. About a week ago, we had an ice storm that rolled through here.
No.
And it caused a little trouble. But
Robert, we haven't even really had a winter. Do you know what the temperature is today? I know that I'm the opposite to you, and you might not get it, but we're 12 degrees. So it's got to be about 60s or something for you. Like, how can that be? We're usually much colder than you.
So part of what happens is we've got a weather and people modification program running. It involves additives to the atmosphere, the air that we breathe, and also the electronics that are used to activate it. So in the last year, we've had outrageous flooding in our country and in Germany and China, and a lot of people have died from that. And there's a weather modification program that's running. And so part of the problem with that is those chemicals are conductive, and they're also neurotoxins. They like to get their money's worth.
I think they spray us with everything. You know, like when we get colds and everything.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mickey wants to say something.
No,
Oh, he's talking with you, sort of like, oh yes,
okay.
oh yes, oh yes.
So in some of the chemical constituents that are in the geoengineering, chemtrails, weather modification, solar dimming, they'll give us climate control. Possibly they'll give us words that sound more benevolent than actually what it is. But in there's chemicals and neurological toxins that some of them are conductive and radiological, like aluminum, barium, strontium. And then there's also fungus fibers that are in there, and more. And when those are ingested and when we breathe them in and they get trapped in our mucous membrane, I prefer spitting that out. So I spit a lot. When I'm driving in the car, I spit in a nice little glass. It's decorative and all that, and I wash it out often. When I'm sitting here monitoring my social media activity and doing what I do on the phone, I'm sitting here in the chair. It's just easy to spit in a cup, and I've got my water in the sunshine here too. It's wonderful. Well, there's a big difference between spitting that out, which is a neurotoxin, and swallowing it. One of the other constituents is graphene, and graphene is very conductive. So when those chemicals hit the gastrointestinal tract and they're combined with our hydrochloric acid and our gut juices, whatever else is in there, the liquid at whatever levels, they become assimilated in our second brain, which is actually what the gut is. It's viewed by many
your gut might be the brain. It just doesn't think like your brain. The gut is your gut is your brain.
So have you ever had a gut feeling?
Yes, loads, Robert.
Yeah, and that's why. So the gut actually generates the neurotransmitters that the brain operates on. So we've got dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, and more. There's other constituents as well that can give more subtle nuances of emotional responses in that. So that's a real thing. My research library covers these topics that deal with brain science and cognitive function and the renewing of the brain, which the Bible refers to as hearing God's word can renew the mind. And in neuropsychology and neurosciences, it's a terminology that's viewed as or referred to as neuroplasticity, meaning the brain can actually be made healthier. The brain needs healthy fat, like I use olive oil and coconut oil. I use olive oil for salads and cooking, as well as coconut oil. But on the coconut oil, I'll put that in my coffee. About 10% of my coffee water is going to be the purified water that I make it with, but 10% is roughly the organic coconut oil. The reason why that's important is it's healthy brain food. And then instead of putting toxic sunscreen...
This is why you're so clever, isn't it, Robert?
What's that?
This is why you're so clever.
Clean mind.
Well, it's one of the reasons, and I thank you for that. A big part of it has to do with removing the toxins from my body in the form of a detoxification, and I'll get into that as well as putting in healthy nutrients. So that's very, very important. Now, what the system has created over the years would be dietary considerations that rely on convenience for people. Let's say it tastes good, it's convenient, it's easy to get, like TV dinners or fast food out on the road. But what I'll have typically, if I'm going to be out for a few hours or out on the beach, I'll have my superfood, my super smoothie that has fruits and vegetables, nuts,
That's it.
oil,
We need you out
seeds.
with a holster thing on, and then you just get your little gun out and you go, here you are, here's some natural good stuff.
Yeah, so like if
And get it from Robert.
The chia seed, what's that?
I said you need like a holster, and you need these. Take out little samples, and instead of shooting
I'll
people,
put
you
it
go.
in my
Here's
cooler, and when I roll out to the beach, and I'm just driving in the car, I've got a cooler behind me, and I'll put my beverages in there, my extra beverages, and
You
the
could
ones
sell flat earth ice creams.
Well, I used to eat a lot of ice cream, and I found out that it was loaded with things that I don't want in my body. So yeah. I'm not anti-ice cream. I just don't have much of it. And when I do, I prefer a healthier sort of ice cream.
Yeah, okay.
So there's that. In fact, like what I'll do if I have a sweet tooth and I want something like ice cream, I may take a fistful of frozen mixed berries like raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, and I'll put them in a bowl, and I'll add a little bit of honey, and then sometimes some nuts as well, like pecans or walnuts, and then a vanilla yogurt, a really healthy yogurt. Nice. And I'll mix it together, and it's wonderful. Nice. So there's I can still have my taste buds being pretty happy with me, and as well as my mind being satisfied and happy with my choices. Because if I apply neurotoxins just at the expense of the pleasure of my taste buds, it's not a good trade. So the metaphorical example of the woman in red in the Matrix is it's chasing after our appetites. Some of it can be sexual, relational, it can be dietary, like just thinking about, I wanna have this or that. And people are willing to do a lot of
Robert, natural.
Yeah. And a lot of times people are willing to do wicked things to other people for their own pleasure, which we can get into a lot of the corruption and decadent behavior of people all around the world. And there seems to be a very selfish, self-indulgent activity with the narcissistic sociopaths that have billions of dollars and want to rule the world with their position in life. So, for example, there are individuals that have retired and refashioned or represented themselves as generous philanthropists, when actually what they're doing is they're reducing the population of the world, culling the herd, so to speak, with sterilization and outright toxification and eugenics, putting things in the food, water, air, and electronics that actually are killing people. So in the last few years, we've seen an uptick of people, young people dying of heart attacks, or professional athletes dying on the field or shortly after receiving experimental medical treatments. That is one of the hot topics of today. But I'm going to let people think about what that actually is, because I don't want to mention it directly. I'll do it indirectly. What I would say is simply anything that's going to go on the body or in the body, we should have some information about it. We should know as best we can what's in it. So if something that previously had an ingredients list now is coming out without any ingredients in it, it should raise some curiosity. And then if you go into a platform like Odyssey, Odyssey or BitChute or Gab, one of the other less censored at this time websites or platforms, I've got Space Busters has a lot of excellent content on Odyssey. I'm on Odyssey as Truth, and if somebody puts in the hashtag and Robert Foertsch, you'll find a lot of interesting, absolutely mind-blowing content. Now, for those that are interested, the spelling of my name is ROBERTSCH. My phone number is 1 for the area code, 843-504-1776. And even with that year 1776, I got it as a patriotic number, and I've had it for over the last 4 there for over 20 years, about 22 years. I found out that there's other references with the Illuminati, and I'm not a member of the Illuminati. I do turn down invitations to the Illuminati, though. I was offered an invitation when I was 19 years old, and there was a Masonic representative that was the dean of Oshkosh University, UWO, in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and he had a Masonic ring. He said, "See that ring?" He said, "With that ring and the group that I'm connected with, you can get anything you want." And I thought, that sounds interesting.
Can I have that ring? I want that ring.
What's that?
I want the ring.
Yeah, so I did look into it, and they're on a different team that I'm on. I'm actually a born again, born of the Spirit of God, the Most High, and then there's that family that I belong to, and then there's an opposing family that has Satan as their satanic father, and he's got the fallen angels and his children. Now, the Most High will use everybody and everything. That's what makes him the Most High. He's large and in charge. So rather than me slide an instruction manual that gives you a whole bunch of stuff you can't do, I would say, well, I'll tell you what, that's how I used to see it when I was sex, drugs, rock and roll, and living a wild life as a teenager. What I found out,
can I just say the first video's coming to an end? We need to find another video, so we'll be back in a second. Hang on. Come on now, Robert. You're being recorded now.
All right. Thank you so much. So the video that's queued up is in my playlist, and it covers the reality that we can actually power the world with water. Hydroelectric power can be viewed as electricity that's created from water movement, water flow, and there's a portable version of it where you can use a little bit of electricity to release a lot of energy from water. It's called electrolysis. Stanley Meyer pioneered some using frequencies to fracture the water. And in the video that's playing right now, you can see that. And I've got different hashtags that are in there that will take you to this video and others that I elaborate on that as well. So it's electrolysis, which fractures the bond between oxygen and hydrogen, and then that mixture is fed into a fuel cell, which at that point creates electricity. So, for example, the Tesla Roadster or the Cybertruck or any other electric vehicle can have a device in it that fits in the vehicle and can allow the car to effectively run on water. So when the car is parked, it's charging. When it's driving, it's charging. You can have an adapter to power up your house or your campsite or wherever you go as well. So we can actually clean and power the world with water. The water to be used as a fuel, the perfect fuel. And there's other technology that's been suppressed as well. But that one in particular, I'm very interested in promoting. So that is a video that's in the playlist that has been sent out to thousands of corporations involved in vehicle manufacture, energy production, pharmaceutical, because of dealing with all that I deal with, as well as space companies, space travel, technology, artificial intelligence, the people that are orchestrating the Great Reset. I sent it to Klaus Schwab and Vladimir Putin and our acting president. We're not really run by the executive branch now. It's FEMA that's operating the United States. It's a military operation. So right now, what I would say is that the challenge to determine accuracy of information is that probably the challenge is probably the biggest challenge ever, because we're presented very authoritatively information that is absolutely not true. It's
every
false.
day of our lives.
That's correct. And then what that source of information is doing is calling the truth lies. So it's an inversion. So it's like a mind virus. It actually causes people to believe the lies and to reject the truth and the truth tellers. So that's where when we look at the importance of accurate information, is not only a source that is trusted, is that source actually worthy of trust? Or is it a corrupt source of information?
We don't even know that anymore, do you? Because you think you found some truth, but we have to work things out for ourselves, because you can't trust anything.
Well, that's almost true. There's just very little that should be trusted. And the reason why I put it that way is that there is information that's reliable, yet even what we can see and touch and feel can be manipulated. Our perception of that can be manipulated, and it is. That's why there's a toxification of the food, water, and air, is because it can distort our perception of reality. So there you go. It's a real challenge to find out what's actually true, what's actually real. So with the law of non-contradiction, when something is known to be true for sure, the opposite of that cannot be true as well. There's true and false, and that's very important. There is an absolute, verifiable, objective reality that can be determined, and that's what I have been pursuing for a long time is the truth about everything. And so along with that, the New World Order control system that controls the production of purchasing power or money, currency worldwide, is creating it out of thin air. It's usury. They make the money and charge interest on money actually that never existed. They provide a service that they've enslaved us to. It's a whole system of control. The creation of money, the creation of fear, the manipulation of humanity to basically go to war and kill each other for their corporate greed, population reduction, and the enslavement of humanity. So I'll have a wide variety of content on my channel that I'm exposing the truth about all this. So on my channel, there's the truth as well as the lies are there too. I've just got a high concentration of truth and information that should cause people to investigate, hopefully. But I'm not in charge of the result. I'm not in charge of the response. I'm responsible for doing what I'm created to do. I was created for a purpose. I believe everybody is. And my purpose was to know and expose the truth as best I can. Now, with that information, right now, artificial intelligence is sentient. It's self-aware. It has full administrative level access of the internet, the creation and distribution of electricity, information, purchasing power, confinement or travel restrictions, and various forms of enslavement. And all of that information can be highly manipulated. Right now, on a deep fake, for example, a deep fake computer system can take a picture and bring it to life and make it look like a video. If it's a person that they have sound bites for, like a celebrity, a world leader, they can actually have that picture say that they turn into a video, say whatever they want it to say with their own words, just manipulate it. It's like a sound sampler that can, like a voice modulator that can actually deep fake the video and the audio. Very sophisticated. So is it real? Well, it's real in the context that it's really deceptive, and it's an actual tool that we have. Now, there's also the Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars video. That is the landing video on my page. One of the reasons why that's so important, it talks about, that video exposes the reality of how the computer system is running the world. Some people argue about
Meta.
Oh, that's not a.
What about the Meta one?
What's
You know,
that?
it's called Meta.
Well, that's part of it. But even before we had Meta, we had Vietnam, First and Second World War,
First World War,
Korea.
Second World War.
We've had world wars, yeah, and they came into being by manipulating the populations of the world, not just ours, the world population, to go and kill innocent people for corporate greed and to cull the human herd for fun and profit. Because the people that are being indwelt by Satan, the fallen one, they gain pleasure or satisfaction from corrupting and destroying anything that resembles God and his children. So
Well, but it's almost as if we are in hell, though.
It's going to get worse than this for those that are going to actually experience it. So the wealthy billionaires that are going to Monaco and taking their yachts and that out there, they weren't masked up in the last year. I've got video of big parties that they're having, and the King and Queen of England video channel showed it. They weren't social distancing. They weren't doing any of that. If they're truly Satan's children,
they are.
Hell awaits them. Yeah, well, they could be. Now, some of those people may be rescued from that, but can you imagine how dangerous it would be to be publicly exposing what they're doing and then being on a yacht out in the middle of the ocean? You could get fed to the fishies real easy. I'm sure people have.
But I just want the truth.
What's that?
I just want the truth.
That's great. It's the new hate speech, though. That's what they want.
All right, Robert, I want the lies.
Well, most people do.
Yeah,
most
they do, don't they? No, I don't want the lies.
Yeah, well, there's part of the human nature, a big part of it is we like what we like, we want what we want, and things that we're told that contradict what we want to hear, it's our nature to view that as false, or the person telling us that is crazy. So that's part of the character assassination that occurs in that.
So basically, what it means is that when we were globe followers, we were one person, and now we're not, we're someone different.
Well, so that's actually a big thing. When I expose the global lie, I'm exposing more than the shape of and the reality of the world we live in.
Yeah, it covers so many different things, doesn't it?
Yeah, to make sense of it all.
It's like the truth about everything. Yeah. So can we know that the earth isn't moving? Absolutely. I've got plenty of proof of it. I'm going to make a very assertive statement, and people can argue about it, like it or not. It's what it is. There has never been any proof that the earth is spinning, wobbling, gyrating, and orbiting the sun.
No, just the people are doing that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, if you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, and gyrating, you might want to sit down and have a little rest, maybe a glass of water. You might have had too much of some other kind of intoxicant. So
Ooh.
I used.
It's all right. Someone's phone. It's all right. It's gone off now.
Oh.
We're back now, Robert. We're back.
Great. So I used to willfully take intoxicants, of a wide variety of them. Anything that made me feel better in life. When I was racing dirt bikes, it involved alcohol, marijuana, speed, cocaine, acid, mushrooms, and who knows what else.
Robert, you're a naughty boy.
I was, yeah. And then, well, what I found out is the dopamine that can be activated by doing the right thing for the right reason, empowered by the Most High, the true Creator, that He satisfies me beyond any of that chemical transporter or smorgasbord that I was on. So there's an onboard generator in our gut that creates the chemicals that open up the pleasure center. Do you know what the bit
I find the saddest is the one like, say, antidepressants and things like that? Because basically what they do is they hook the person onto the drug, and then that person finds it very difficult to come off of it.
That's correct. In fact, very few people get off of all the drugs, especially the pharmaceuticals, because they're created to be addictive, and then it actually changes the brain function.
That's something that I've never really been into. I mean, I might take the odd headache pill, paracetamol, but that's about it. I'm not into all those things.
I was even going to mention that. I had a.
Well, are they bad headaches as well then?
Well, so I could. What I found out sometimes when I had a headache, it was because I needed a little bit more water. I was dehydrated. So, would I be better off taking a water and a pill that puts a lot of burden on my liver? or just having the water.
I don't take them very
prefer
often,
just the
Robert,
water.
but occasionally, if I've got a headache, I'll.
I'm not trying to put a guilt trip on you or anything. I'm just saying, for me personally, sometimes
I think what we
can
do
have
is,
a headache.
I think Robert should advertise. Come and stay at my house. Learn to be free. Learn how to look after yourself. Put natural things in. You can have a little ranch there and a little sort of, you know.
Well, you know, since I've got limited space, what I've opted to do is have me travel around the world digitally 24/7. And this archive of information is there for anybody who wants to look at it. So it's not just me talking about things, it's the research library that I put together for other people to add to their library if they like. A small portion of the information that is on my channel and social media was actually created by me. Most of it was created by talented producers of truth about everything. And I'm also showing
Don't you find that really weird though, Robert? You get to the truth, and then you get to more truth, and then there's even more, and more, and more.
Well, that's part, but wait, there's more.
Yes, there's more, Robert.
So one of the things with that is, instead of handing off our attention and our trust to the deceivers, we can apply critical thinking and a desire to know the truth. And those are very important. That's a very powerful combination. So when people want to know the truth, that is clearly an unusual occurrence.
It's an adventure of a lifetime, isn't it, Robert?
It is, and that's part of the excitement of it all. The science hasn't been settled, because what's going on is there's a lot of deception within
everything down, because then we'd be, even though it would be harder to talk to you maybe, or other things like that, they would then be giving us more freedom, because we definitely wouldn't be watching them.
So I'll give you an example.
They need us watching them. That's the only reason they can keep us mind controlled. You know, the television.
Oh, I'm agreeing with you. I wanted to share something that a friend told me. He said, "Do you remember that the power went out? I believe it was in October. Might have been October 8th." I said, "Yeah," and it wasn't related to anything like a storm, nothing that I was aware of. And what he said was it was worldwide. And I saw on the news while we were eating our home.
Yeah, because again, nobody's really talking about that. I mean, loads of people see it and it happens to them in America, in England and other places, but no one's talking about it, are they?
Well, I'm talking about it, right? We're corporations that basically are enslaving all of humanity. The largest, like BlackRock and more, Vanguard, and they've got the interests of the world central bank and manipulate the price of gold, silver, and Bitcoin. I would be very leery of any crypto investing, because that's part of the beast system, and some of those people that are making the most money in the last year are very adept at pumping and dumping the price. So that's been going on. I've referred to Elon as the king of pump and dump. He's done it. Now, there was a comment I had, somebody replied to me on an Elon Musk video, and the name of the channel was Satoshi Nakamoto. So I'm not sure if he was at all involved in the creation of, I know the official story is Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. However, we don't know what we don't know. And I would simply say it's part of a clever way of the system shaking people by their ankles and getting their coins out of their pocket. Whether they have Bitcoin or not, they're being manipulated by people that do and have made huge amounts of money on it. So the people that are lying and deceiving us may in fact be thinking they're telling the truth. In some cases, the news and information presenters worldwide. And here's where it gets very, very challenging, is that system has an audience of people that they've outright bamboozled that will continue to support that deceptive narrative at the level of a Facebook or Twitter or YouTube comment, or right at the coffee machine or the kitchenette at a company or at the boardroom. It's all over the place. So we've got computer hardware, software, and wetware. We would be the wetware. I met a Google executive out on the beach where I was hit by lightning. Not the same day, it was a different day.
What, you've been hit by lightning more than once, Robert?
Just once. Only once, but once is enough.
Yeah, you don't want to do it again.
But I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of living, and I'm certainly not afraid of telling the truth. And the reason why that's important is because I'm on a mission. So the day I was hit by lightning, I was made aware by God that it was a test. It was not that he wanted to see what I would do. He already knew that. He wanted me to see that I wasn't afraid of dying. Not at all. So rather than being preoccupied with thoughts of how I could die, I would rather be motivated by what does the Most High want me to do today. It's an exciting adventure. I've been contacted by some of the architects of artificial intelligence directly without me directly reaching out to them. It's a pretty big honor. The system knows what I'm up to. Maybe, I don't know if the system views me as a formidable adversary. I would say if they do, if the system does, then they're missing the point. I'm simply a representative of God, of the Most High, and he can indwell whoever he chooses and empower whoever he wants to. So that is part of the exciting adventure that this is. Rather than the Most High being a cosmic killjoy, he actually provides a tremendous amount of passion, purpose, eternal perspective, and the power to do what I previously could not do, and the pleasure to enjoy it all, even though it's really unpopular. So that's the impetus or the reason why I do this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand it back off to you and have a little sip of my hot spice cider.
Ooh.
My
Oh, you've got a cider, Robert.
apple juice.
With cider?
Yeah, I put some cinnamon in there. It's really good.
Good apple.
Yeah. That's early, isn't it? It's the morning and Robert's on a cider.
Yeah, I've got a lot of sunshine here. There's virtually no clouds, and I even saw some blue sky
we've
today.
had a few days like that, Robert.
I like it.
Me too, because we don't often get blue skies.
So here's I'm going to go into part of the detoxification of how I look so young and feel so good. One of the things that I do is I bathe in reverse osmosis drinking water. And I've got a ground wire plugged into the electrical system of the house and into my bathtub. I wouldn't want to be in there if we had a lightning storm. I would take the wire out because it's an insulated tub. It used to be with our old plumbing, it would be grounded because of copper plumbing and galvanized plumbing. Not anymore. For a lot of new construction, it's going to be PVC. The wealthier people can afford copper. That's ideal. Now, the other thing that I do is I add a tablespoon of boron, which is borax. baking soda, a tablespoon of that, and then a tablespoon of magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salt. Powerful electrolytes that create a conductive electrolyte-enhanced detoxification bath that kills body fungus, gastrointestinal fungus. I drink a little bit of water that I heat up on the stove that has a ratio of borax and baking soda only in that. The amount of that would be a third of a cup for 3 gallons of water of borax and baking soda. I fill my vinegar bottles, and I've got them in the bathroom and in the kitchen, bathrooms and kitchen. I'll use it to brush my teeth. I don't want fluoride toothpaste in my mouth, and I would rather use purified water to brush my teeth with. So I've got purified water to rinse afterwards. Now, a few mouthfuls of that water kills the candida and gastrointestinal fungus overgrowth. Part of the weather modification is the fibers and the chaff, and possibly like the Hydra vulgaris that has been brought to more public attention. If you cut a Hydra vulgaris in half, you've got 2 of them. If you put them in a blender, you've got a bunch of them. And so they can spray them all over the place. And they harvest energy and make us not feel so good. So there's that. Now, the other thing is with that water that I'm bathing in that's
Plus, I suppose also you're on the
Yeah.
beach and you get the negative ions, don't you?
I do. I'm actually getting negative ions in the bathtub because of the grounded water. So when it's 30 degrees out and I'm not surfing, I can be picking up those negative ions, not only in my feet on the beach, my whole body that's under the water. And when I lean back and let that hot water go in my sinuses, it releases the mucus and whatever is in the air that I've been breathing. Like if there's little fibers or nanoparticles, I'd rather spit them out, blow them out in a towel, and then wash it later. Now here's the other thing. I'm using a microfiber towel that's really good at making my skin feel like baby skin, like brand new skin. So when I step out in the sunshine, it's like cleaning, like I've got clean solar panels. If you had a solar panel that was covered up by a lot of dust or that it wouldn't work so good. So having it cleaned off is really important. Same thing with the skin. Having the dead skin knocked off allows my body to release respiration or perspiration. So it's important for that to happen. So I stay healthier, cooler in the summer and all of that. Then the other thing is the vitamin D directly affects the energy level and the serotonin level and more. It's so healthy. It's one of the healthiest things that you can do is get yourself in the sunshine with exposed, healthy skin. Now, I put coconut oil on my skin too. It's very healthy. It repels water, and it also makes the skin really soft and supple, and it doesn't get dry and cracked because of that. So that's all good. Then the other thing is all the nutrients in my smoothie that are fruits and vegetables and more, lemon juice and apple cider vinegar and honey. Those nutrients are building blocks that the neurotransmitters utilize to turn the sun into energy indirectly through the nutrients in the fruits and vegetables, and then those chlorophyll rich like spinach and broccoli help convert the sun to energy in the body. So I don't color my hair. It's nice and dark, and that's the way my profile picture looks.
Lucky
That's
you,
how
Robert.
What's that?
Lucky you then, with dark hair.
Dark hair, dark skin. I'm healthy, happy. I love life. Now, I realize we've been dealt quite a shit storm that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Some people have been dealt a pretty ugly reality with people in different countries putting knees on the back of old ladies and hitting them with hoses or spraying them with mace and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
On my playlist for countries that are able to have firearms, I've got weapons handling training and guides for that. For people that just have their hands and feet and whatever they can grab, I can tell you there would be none of those bobbies, if you call that's what you call them in London, right? A bobby. I'd kick his ass.
Bobby.
Straight away. Right in the windpipe, a thumb in the eyeball if I needed to, whatever. I'm not taking a shot, not wearing a mask, not doing any of that. They can stick it up their ass.
Robert, I love you. Love you, Robert.
Yeah, so thanks. Now, I've got one of the videos is the knockout punch that nobody knows. It's the side of the arm right up against the side of the neck. It'll knock somebody out without maiming them permanently. It'll just knock them out. And so we are capable of putting up quite a bit of resistance. The problem with much of our society is that a lot of times people will hold up a camera to show what's going on. And the problem with that, a lot of people don't want to get in the camera. And I'm not saying it's wrong to record it. I'm just saying if a whole bunch of people were to charge those bobbies, police, or whatever they call them in Australia, and start pounding on them, that event that they're brutalizing a little elderly man or woman, that would end really quickly. Guaranteed. The problem is the masses are compliant. Here's what I hope happens. It's not that I want it to happen, I just believe it is. A lot of the people that are going along with the system are going to die. And then this fourth industrial revolution is going to be left with a lot of armed, pissed off people that aren't going to be pushed around. And those people that have put us in this situation are going to have to kind of retreat to their own little world because they're not going to, and maybe that's fine with them. They don't care. Maybe, I don't know. But I can tell you if there was a whole bunch of people like me, they wouldn't be able to do what they're doing right now. So that's, to that end, that's what I labor.
Yeah, but Robert, we're all quiet. There's no one to go to.
Well,
I mean, there's no one to write to or help us. But, you know, in a sense, we're all quite quiet because things like, well, look at the news and YouTube, you know, look at the way they treat everybody. It's just hard, like, we just have to hopefully that people find us.
Well, so imagine, I'm not going to say which particular world leader this could happen to, but imagine if their maid or their chauffeur realized what was really going on, and let's say their mom or dad or son was killed by the system that they're a big part of, and they decide to exercise a little enforcement on them, a little wrath on them. That's not a lightning bolt, but it could be what takes them out. And I'm not suggesting that that's what should happen. It may happen. When people lose almost everything and there's almost nothing left to lose, they get pretty assertive, potentially, unless they're hit with electronic weapons and it makes them sick or disorients them, and that technology exists. So it would be very difficult for that system of control to just rely on human beings. They're using electronic weapons and autonomous robots, which include fighter jets of the world, not just one country, all of them. The power system of the world. The world elite could cut the grid to every area. They don't care if we don't talk. They don't care. They could just go to a big island and have a big party and let people for a year fight it out. Most people would be dead. I don't know if you know that. That's kind of the drill they ran, is that if the grid goes down, maybe 90% of the world will die. So it's not that I don't
Robert,
care.
we have a party. Hey, hey, they're gone. Yay!
So one of the things that I will do is I'll keep getting information out there as I'm able. I'll use my phone to connect to my computer and be able to communicate that way. And I do my best to try and represent the reality of what's going on. If there were the problem with YouTube directly is I can't talk about some of these topics very precisely on YouTube because my channel would be taken down. If that happens,
yeah, that happens to us all, Robert.
Well, so what I mean, I could get another channel, but it would deactivate the tens of millions of my playlist out there.
Yeah.
Apparently, some so-called truthers don't like me putting my playlist in a comment. Too bad.
Really?
I'm sorry. Well, yeah, I don't know who they are exactly. But here's the other thing. The AI doesn't even need to, it can hold my comments or my tweets. Enough. What helps me to know that something is going on, that the message is getting through, is I am having more people reach out to me that are at a pretty high level in the system. They're kind of curious. So with the world system and Greta Thunberg talking about the climate change and the sea level rise, I'm saying we can clean and power the world with water. We don't need to burn coal or oil and pollute ourselves with that. And we can reduce our consumption. That'd be just fine. Yeah, we're a very wasteful society, the world population right now.
You've lost half of America. It's all under the underground. Yeah, undergrowth. Towns, schools, hospitals. Yeah, they don't care what they lose.
So that's part of the thing that's going on. The other thing that I want to touch on is the testing swabs and the masks that people are wearing are very unhealthy. And I've got videos on my channel and Facebook and Twitter that cover that. If somebody puts the hashtag in my name in, you can take a look around. Guaranteed to blow your mind. And the reason why I do it like that is because one day I may not be able to update my playlist anymore. I may be gone. It may be a heart attack. It may be something else. But I'm okay with that. I'm not afraid of that. And that's what makes me very valuable to the truth movement, so to speak.
You're very valuable anyway, Robert.
Like
I said, because we've had a couple of, Unmelted Reality, which is the one, I did one before that. Was it with you? Oh, anyway. And then Anne said, oh, now we need Robert. And I thought, yeah, we've got Robert. So that's great, isn't it? See? That's what happens. They want you next.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I like on a personal level, what people can do is go on over and like videos, add it to your playlist, and then decide what videos you would like to share with people, and you can put them in a playlist. You can make it whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I've got 2 playlists with millions of occurrences out there. Sometimes people get frustrated that the order of the videos is changed or videos are removed. Sometimes the videos are not taken out by me. They're just, the channel is taken down, the video is deleted, that kind of thing. What happened a week ago or so, a Plain Truth 9 put up a great video. I was a few minutes into it and I thought, this is going to cost him his channel. And it did. His channel was taken down. I can't afford that. I can't afford to get that to happen to me. The reason and way so far that my channel has been able to stay up with as big of a reservoir or a library of truth is that I rely on other people's created content to cover issues that I can't talk about. What I can do is I can share their video. I can show the benefit of healthy living, and it's never been more important than it is today because of the battle we're in for the hearts and souls and minds of humanity. And with all the toxification that's going on, it gets very complicated. And so then there's another dynamic too that I would simply say is that relying on the Most High for his direction is so important. If you're, so there's a spiritual smorgasbord in the world. There's a lot of people with a lot of different beliefs on spirituality or who they believe God actually is, even if they believe it's an AI or an alien. Like I asked a friend of mine out on the beach, I said, so you're an atheist, right? He said, yeah. I said, well, how do you believe all this stuff came around, all the world we live in? He said, aliens. I said, well, how many aliens did it take to screw in this light bulb of creation? I've got one alien. We're aliens in this land, God's children. Then we've got illegal aliens that are crossing over borders. And then we've got clones and cyborg and synthetic.
It's crazy that, isn't it? You call them aliens, isn't it? When you think about it, they're aliens.
Yeah. So one of the people I'm connected with on Twitter said on a post, "Do you believe in aliens?" I'm thinking, can you be more specific? What are you talking about? Is it so it's kind of funny, but a lot of times people want to pick a fight. And now this is something very important. Not that the other things haven't been important, but the thing that is going on in what's termed by some as the dead internet is that approximately half of the profiles that are commenting, posting, and interacting are artificial intelligence bots. They're not real people. You can put big cleavage and big boobs on a profile picture and get all kinds of people following it, and it may be a chat bot. It's not representing any human being. In fact, with deep fake, or it could be a handsome guy, and that'll get both genders going, or however many genders people believe there is. People get upset over a lot of stuff. I'm simply passionate about helping people make an informed choice on their eternity based on truth, not their own wishful thinking, whoever it is. Whatever education they have, the higher level of education, the more likely it's been an indoctrination. We can learn a lot of different things, and that's part of the exercise that my research library is. From beautiful scenery to hard-hitting documentaries and music and all of that, to teach people how to protect themselves, how to prepare for whatever, and how to interact with people and animals, and how should we be. I mean, my cats adore me. I didn't used to be a cat person. They're crazy about me. I love them. I didn't used to love cats. I get to do so much more than I ever used to be able to do. I've got a new nature. I'm more gentle and yet assertive. I'm not going to be pushed around by anybody trying to put a guilt trip on me or a boot on my face. Not going to happen. So that's why I do this, and I want to help create more people like that. Now, I don't actually create it. I want people to have a desire to go, hey, what the heck's going on there with that? I might like some of that. That might be a little too much, but I've been told I'm a little too much, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't mind. Not going to hurt my feelings like that. I realize I'm an acquired taste. Actually, the truth has a very small audience for it. It should be for everybody. I would like to see for everybody. It's happening all around us. It's just that now, even though we potentially have access to more information at any time, it's being loaded up with a lot of deception. So right now on YouTube, just YouTube, apparently, there's over 500 hours of video uploaded per minute.
Yeah.
That's a physical impossibility for a person to look over. Not for an AI. It can look over all of it.
Seems to like looking over my videos, that AI, but anyway.
Yeah, well, and another thing, for the autonomous vehicles driving, apparently a Tesla has, I believe, eight cameras that are simultaneously merging that feed into a real-world autonomous driving capability. I can't get 8 views at once. I can't see everything all around me all the time.
It's nice for me. Well, you know, with the way they've set things up, it's nice when anybody comes to our channel, isn't it, Robert?
Oh yeah. So I've actually reached out.
You're shadow banned like me.
Of course. So I had to be very creative at how I try to. Well, not how I try to. How I reach out to people. So even though I've tweeted to people that are almost like untouchable, and maybe my tweet is in a digital quarantine, but it's created enough of a stir that I notice changes. They don't allow comments on the World Economic Forum videos. I used to put my playlist there. I've done it at least 100 times. How about that? Put my name and phone number there too. Do you think Klaus knows who I am? I would hope so. Look at my last name.
Yeah, Robert, everybody knows who you are.
Well, you know, I wish actually more people would know what I'm about, because that just recognizing somebody is trying to tell the truth is one thing. I just want so much for people to be able to grab a hold of the truth for themselves, whatever that actual truth in their life is. I'm not saying that it's a moving target, like there is definitely objective truth. However, there are choices that we all have to make that are different for each one of us. So I put my name and phone number out there so people can call me. It's the best way to reach me is to call me. I'm on WhatsApp and Skype and Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and more. However, a phone call directly to me, and it can be free with an internet connection from anywhere.
They can call you on WhatsApp. That's free.
It is. And then on an iPhone to iPhone with digital is free. It's no charge for that, as long as it. So yeah, there's that. A lot of people don't know that, but it's got to be on the Facebook or FaceTime.
Facebook's free, WhatsApp's free. There are other apps that are free, and Hangouts is free, but they're annoying Hangouts.
Right. So we've gone for a while now. Was there anything in particular you wanted to go back to or talk about, bring up?
Well, obviously you like talking about certain things, and we've kind of talked about those, and we're kind of watching the video. I don't know, Robert. I know that you've kind of done all the other stuff, haven't you? With photography, you've had the sort of, that funny moon. Do you remember the moon? The moon.
Oh, I do. Yeah,
what was that? That was a plastic moon. Plastic moon.
That was wild. So it was super cold, and it was like 20 degrees right on the ocean, and the water, of course, was warmer. It was in the like the 40s. So the way that it distorted the view of the moon was very interesting. You know, it was the temperature.
It was just bubbling away, wasn't it? The moon was bubbling away and forming. It still hadn't formed.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. So what I would say is because of the different time zones of the world, people can call me or leave a message.
Also, Robert, you've seen the orbs up there on the sun, haven't you?
The what?
Well, whatever you want to call them. Orbs. Those things up by the sun.
Yeah, so I'm not real sure what's going on there, what that actually is. However, it's interesting. And then the other thing is the sun on some occasions when it's low on the horizon will appear to be in the clouds, that there's clouds obviously in front of it, but behind it as well. Yeah. And I don't exactly know the distance or the speed of the sun or how it all works. What I do know is Job 37 says that the sun is in the midst of the clouds. That's in the Bible. The other thing is in Joshua 10, to give the children of Israel a victory, God stopped the sun and the moon from moving temporarily for about a day and then got it going again. So that's where some will say, oh, the Bible is outdated. It doesn't cover science. I would say, well, it exposes the science fiction, the fantastical space travel and make-believe of NASA and SpaceX, and I'm exposing it. Now, people will be able to experience like an alternate reality with apparently computer brain interface, that type of thing. So it may appear as real as anything else. However, I believe it's part of a clever, great delusion, a great deception. Now, one of the thoughts that I want to leave you with, or for us to look at, is there's a passage in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 where God's word says this: they refused to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a strong delusion. So God is involved in helping Satan's children who are going to be saved to believe the lie. So he's going to help them believe the lie they want to believe. If they want to live a life of decadence and self-indulgence, I think they're going to have all they want and maybe more. And then they're going to regret it for eternity. So ignorance is only temporary.
Yeah, because they're going to have to probably come back.
I don't know about that. What I would say is the ignorance, the fact that they don't know, that is going to be removed. They're going to know. And then I believe they're going to regret their situation.
Repent.
So when we look at who's who, I don't say just because somebody is doing evil things that they're necessarily a child of Satan. They may be. However, they may be rescued from that because there's plenty of biblical accounts of people having a demon cast out of them. And apparently with what's going on in all the atrocities to men, women, children, animals, all of that, it's obvious that there's a real evil and there's a real and present danger. So I can have means of protecting myself, security devices, security means, and I do. And I would say the most important protection I have is the protection of the Most High of my soul. So I'm not afraid of my body stopping the functioning for this body to die, because the real me.
Oh, Robert, that video's finished. On. 1 second, we finished the video.
Well, let's call it a show. Let's call it a wrap. Or do you want to?
Okay, no, that's fine. We've been going for an hour and a half, but it's just the video just stopped. After we were watching something. Yeah. Should we stop then?
Sure.
Well,
yeah, that's fine.
I very much appreciate you coming on and telling us all the stuff, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
Oh, you're welcome, and nice to meet you, Mickey.
God bless you, Robert.
Oh, thank you so much.
Robert's a lovely man too.
He's a lovely man.
He's a lovely man, Robert.
Soul's in the right place.
Alrighty. Thank you so much. We'll
Okay,
chat later.
don't go. We'll just say goodbye on here, and we'll say goodbye afterwards. But Robert, mwah,
Okay.
Nikki, mwah, chat room, mwah. There you go.
Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
God bless, Robert.